Hey everyone, Couch Investor back to another video for you today. So a pretty harsh day in the markets yet again, and a pretty harsh day for semiconductors, such as Intel, which is down around 5%, AMD, which is down more than 7%, and Nvidia down more than 9%. Now, there are a couple of reasons why this has happened. We're going to go and look at some news with regards to each and every company. Some of that news is, well, a couple of days old, so it doesn't really justify such a big drop today. So it's just news that maybe you want to know, maybe you don't want to know, but it doesn't really justify such a big drop. We're also going to have a look at the graph for each and every stock because it's going to be a bit more, let's say, technical in this video, just to show you what is going on with each and every stock, not with each and every company, but the stock itself can sometimes be a completely different story. So if you're interested in that, sit back and relax, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you have not. And if you want to support me and this channel, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Make sure to check out all the other links in the pinned comment as well, some of which might actually save you some money. So stock number one is Intel. So the first news we got this week is that Intel will split its AXG department into two, which means that the new AXG will move to be part of the Data Center and AI or DCAI group. The group will be led by Jeff, who will report to Sandra, while a search is conducted for a permanent AXG lead. Meanwhile, the ARC graphics side of things will join the CCG or the Client Computing group. Now, important to note that Intel has reconfirmed that nothing has changed with regards to their GPU roadmap, and this restructure is likely only designed to reduce the workload on Raja Koduri because of medical difficulties. Now, speaking of Raja, he will return to the Intel Chief Architect role to focus on their growing effort across CPU, GPU, and AI and accelerating high-priority technical programs. Now, continue on that note is obviously the news that came out with regards to their German chip plant. So it will delay construction. It is seeking more government subsidies. The US-based chip maker earlier this year announced plans for a mega site worth around 17 billion euros. Construction was set to begin mid-2023, and the government planned to provide around 6.8 billion euros. The cost now has risen to 20 billion euros, and maybe that's why they are delaying it. Maybe they want a bit more commitment from the government, seeing how Europe right now is in an energy crisis, seeing how Europe right now, the economy is there on that strong. They want to be certain that the government is probably committed to this project. And now when it comes to the stock itself, you can see it right now. It was rejected a couple of times at the 20 and 50-day moving average. When that happens, usually it goes lower. Right now we're close to that, let's say, mini support line we had back in October at around $25. Let's see what happens there. Back then, the RSI was pretty much oversold. MACD was going into a more bullish pattern here. That's why you see those green candles in this short uptrend. Right now, that's clearly not the case. So keep an eye on that. We're here on the weekly chart. Now, what happens if this little support does not hold? Well, sadly, we have to go a bit lower to around $20, where back in 2011 and 2012, we have found some support. So that was Intel. Obviously, do share down in the comments below if you're holding Intel, if you're planning on buying. Let me know down in the comments below. Now let's move on to the next one, which is AMD, down around 7% or so today. AMD, again, not that much news that came out with regards to the company, besides one thing. And that's the fact that Morgan Stanley's analyst is shifting his top pick in semiconductor from Lam Research to AMD. He's telling investors this change is less about the near-term enthusiasm for AMD, which still has some risk from cloud capex cuts in Q4, than the fact that all of the stocks in the group are up meaningfully during a period of negative earnings revisions, and that Lam specifically is up nearly 50% in 8 weeks, a bit like Nvidia actually. Now, it does say that Lam remains overweight rated and is his preferred stock in semi-caps, but the magnitude of the rally saps their enthusiasm somewhat. AMD has also rallied, but remains the worst performing stock in large cap, who has an overweight rating and 77 price tag on AMD shares. And so as you can see here on the chart, yes, it did go up since October, but then in November, this was basically no man's land, nowhere near the 200-day moving average. And then huge red candle going under that 20 and 50-day moving average. Tried to go over it again, didn't succeed. Tried again here. This is again on the weekly chart. Currently it's failing big time. Now I did draw these lines right here. The blue one was basically because there was a gap here back in July 2020. Obviously that was filled already. Now the more orangey line is because, well, this might be our support. It already was our support once back in October. But if you look back here in 2020, in April 2020, was basically a small top, and then we broke through that with 3 huge green candles. Let's see what happens in the coming weeks. RSI is neutral. Then the MACD, as you can see, well, it's still green, but it's trending in the wrong direction. And now lastly is obviously Nvidia, down more than 9% at the time of making this video. I talked about Nvidia not so long ago with regards to, well, the CEO's purchasing of some options there. Maybe he's gonna sell, maybe not, remains to be seen. But I did show a graph and I did talk about, well, the 20 and the 50-day moving average. It's going to test it, and if it fails, we will probably go down. And it's exactly what has happened. Now again, I don't have a crystal ball. Technical analysis does work, but not all the time. Now, first, let's have a look at a new price target. So Needham has actually raised from $200 to $230 and keeps a buy rating on the shares. Nvidia is Gil's top pick for 2023, and the analyst added it to the firm's conviction list. While the analyst expects volatility in the overall data center market, he believes Nvidia customers are upgrading to the latest H100 architecture. Which, okay, fine. It's quite a nice upside actually right now. So as you can see here, from the lows back in October until not so long ago, the stock was up 55%. Now, since that last video, as you can see also, that big red candle failed to break out of that 200, failed to stay over that 20, and now, well, we're just under each and every one of those. RSI is now coming down heavily. Looking at the MACD, we might actually see the same thing here. If it goes down even further, MACD will probably turn bearish as well. And then if we were to test the support lines from October, this means the stock might fall another 28% or so. Again, we're at the end of the year. Maybe volume will be a bit lower, even though if you look at Tesla stock, volume has been extremely high in the last couple of days, if not weeks. So it remains to be seen. Again, I'll repeat myself, technical analysis can be very, very helpful. In this case, and these days actually, it's pretty helpful to see what actually happens on a day-to-day and on a weekly basis as well. And so, to be honest, there is no real specific explanation to why these 3 stocks are down today on Thursday, December 22nd. It's just the overall market today has been selling off pretty heavily. Maybe people are selling their losing position for tax purposes. Usually that's what happens at the end of the year. Could be this week, could be the reason why the overall market is down heavily today. Can happen. But overall, when talking about Nvidia, Intel, AMD, probably other semiconductors as well, there's no specific company-specific reason why these stocks are down today. There's a more technical explanation to it probably. So if you enjoy this type of videos, obviously do share your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.